On this episode, we're heading to Hawkins, Indiana for Stranger Things, Season 4, Volume 1. Joining me on this discussion tonight is the host of Horror Pop After Midnight and FGW Future Great Wrestling's backstage correspondent, Robyn Nelson, and it's happening right now.
The Everett Lee Show Podcast, a shot of entertainment.
Thanks for having me on. I love doing these crossovers, man, with Horror Pop After Midnight and the Everett Lee Show, the two greatest podcast shows ever.
It's great, man. It's great. I just got to say, Robyn, it's great to talk to you again because I haven't talked to you since episode, I think it was 226, 225, somewhere in there, because after doing over 250 episodes of this podcast, Robyn, things start to blend in each other. It's just kind of like Stranger Things with the reality of the upside down world and the real world. So what's been going on since last time we talked, man? What's been going on your end?
Oh, I just been podcasting away with Horror Pop After Midnight over at Rooster Radio in Hamilton, Ohio. I've been doing a show, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on roostershamilton.com. I've been podcasting. I've been going to comic and horror conventions, interviewing celebrities. I just started a YouTube channel, Horror Pop After Midnight YouTube channel. So I've been filming, videos of me going to these different conventions and roadside attractions. And of course, every Friday night over at FGW Future Great Wrestling in Hamilton, I'm still, doing the backstage interviews and the promos with the superstars of FGW.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I love it. I love everything that's going on with FGW. I love all the stuff that's going on with Horror Pop After Midnight. I know you just did an episode with talking about Top Gun, which I'm going to have to avoid. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the movie yet, so don't hate me on that one there, man.
Hey, Top Gun Maverick was great. It was 37 years in the waiting for a great movie to come out like that, and Tom Cruise is still shining, baby.
And that's what everyone tells me. Everyone says it, man. Tom Cruise is on top, man, right there. And he's on top with everything that's going on, and Top Gun Maverick is killing it in the box office. They have a lot of critics and people have praised it as one of the best sequels to date. I definitely got to check it out. I will throw this in here real quick. I did watch the first 3 episodes after I seen your post of Pistol, based on the story based off the Sex Pistols. Dude, that's some crazy stuff, man.
Hey, you gotta like Rotten and all that, man. I love the origin story. It was wild and crazy. It was during the 70s, punk rock era over in England, which is great. And then Macy Williams, who everybody knows from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
she has a big main role in there too, and she's just phenomenal. And that whole story about the Sex Pistols is pretty good. There's some parts that are a little weird, but it was actually accurate, and it was based off of Mike Johnson's book, The Guitarist.
Yeah, it's about Steve Jones's experience there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Why did I say Mike Jones for?
Mike Jones. I don't know.
And Steve Jones, dang it, he's the guitarist.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
I know. Pistol was great. You can watch it on Hulu. There's like 7 episodes. It's a limited series. It's good.
It is good. I checked it out last night. First 3 episodes. I need to go back and watch the rest of it there. And one thing I'm excited about here is everyone can see right here on the video screen and listening is that Stranger Things is Season 4, Volume 1. We finally, after 2.5 years waiting, Robyn, we finally get Season 4 of Stranger Things because production if you could correct me on this, production was halted in 2020 because of COVID-19, but with that, it actually gave the producers and showrunners of the show to sit back and craft a really great dark story for season 4, didn't they?
I think so. That was well deserved because part 1 is so phenomenal. It's creepy. I love the 80s Easter eggs because I grew up in the 80s, seeing all the, the classic 80s posters here and there. But yeah, this season is pretty creepy. And I like where they're going with 11 because, where it starts off, you see 11 at, in high school in California, make believing she's somebody else. Imagine she has this perfect imaginary world where she's not 11. She's being somebody else and acting like she has all these great friends and all these great life experiences.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed about was because at the end of season 3, Joyce, she takes Jonathan and Will with 11 and packs up and gets out of Hawkins because Hopper ended up dying in the explosion there. And
Mother Russia.
Yep. And we thought he was all dead. But yeah, he's in Mother Russia. He's at this prison. And like you said there, Joyce and the kids are trying to live a life out there in California. Joyce is working at home, I guess, as a telemarketer, which I thought was funny because...
What's so funny about it? She was selling those Encyclopedia Britannicas. I remember when I was a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, when there was no internet, you had to grab volumes of the encyclopedias to do your reports. And it was so funny because in her living room, she had stacks and stacks of these encyclopedias she was trying to sell.
I remember seeing that, man. I was like, wow. I was laughing because I remember going through the Encyclopedia Britannicas, man. That's all you had. That is all you had.
Yeah, it's like this. That's where you got your information. We didn't know what a computer was and all that technology yet. We had to look in books and use pen and paper like the cavemen did. Yeah.
That's all we had there. Hopper, we thought Hopper was dead, and he's in prison. He's in hell, his own personal hell. And then there's what's going on. There's back in Hawkins, we have the rest of the gang. We have Sam, we have Dustin, we have Mike, and I always forget his name. I'm gonna have to pull his name up here. We got Lucas. There we go.
Yeah, Lucas. Yep.
All starting high school. They're all starting high school. They're getting ready to start their senior year in not senior year. Their freshman year in high school.
And my favorite part of it when they're starting high school is where Mike and Dusty are part of the Hellfire Club, which is Dungeons and Dragons, and that is just so awesome because I played D&D back in the 80s, and my favorite character of the season so far is, you gotta love the rocker, the dungeon master of Indiana, Eddie Munson. You gotta love some Eddie Munson. Is he gonna finally, graduate high school from all the years he got held back?
Yeah, that's Eddie was great, man. Eddie reminded me of someone I went to school with. Did he not remind you of that one guy that you went to school with?
Yeah, he reminded me of, I'll tell you a guy he reminded me of, because when I was growing up in California, we had all the headbangers. He reminded me of a guy I was in history class. He had long hair, had a mustache and beard. He looked like he was in his early 20s. It was Victor Sweetbloom. He reminded me of Eddie Munson, man. And I started laughing. I'm going like this. I knew Eddie Munson in high school. And the actor who plays Eddie Munson, this is a cool fact. His name is Joseph Quinn. And that long hair he has is a wig. And he had to take dialect voice acting because he was British to get that American accent.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know he's a Brit. He's a Brit with pretending to be American.
Yep. Well,
Wow.
most Hollywood actors, they're from Britain, New Zealand. They always do that American dialect because they don't want to use their accent. But yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. I like that. I definitely like that. Now, one of the things about Eddie is he's like the head dungeon master in the Hellfire Club there, which I love.
I love where he got the Hellfire Club. They got it from the villain group from the Marvel Universe, the Hellfire Club.
Is that where they got that from? Because I was curious about where they got the name
Yeah,
from.
they did. Gosh, I'm like a nerd encyclopedia tonight.
That's cool. It's all good, man. Because I like the name and I like the group, but the one thing that's different in this opening episode was that Elle don't have her powers. She don't have her powers. She's getting made fun of at school there in California. And she got made fun of because she did by one of the girls there, that popular girls that was making fun of her because she did this project on her
dad.
Her dad, Hopper, who, saved everyone in the mall fire. That happened there in Hawkins in season 3, but we all know the real story. But that's the story that was given, and she's having a hard time. She's getting picked on. She's getting bullied. And that part where she's in the quad, remember, she's walking in the quad, she gets tripped and her project gets stomped on. I wanted to run over and slap Will in the head. It's like, go over there and do something. Help your sister. She's like your sister right now. Go help her. That really hurt. And when she reached out and she screamed like, ah, it's like, she realized, nope, I don't got my powers. Rowdy check.
And then everybody started laughing at her and they started chatting her, calling her like a freak. And then since she was also getting bullied, especially the part when Mike finally flies to California to be of 11. So she kept on, lying to Mike about, her make-believe story, how she's happy. And Will's like, you can't be doing that. He's gonna hate you for it.
Can't lie to Mike, man. And Will was spot on right there. You can't lie. I had some questions about Will. I mean, about his sexuality and stuff coming up. That's been all over the internet there, because I think he does have feelings for Mike. I think he does. He does have feelings for him, and it's hard for him to express it because he's afraid what's going to happen, how Mike's going to feel. But how do you feel about that?
Oh, you can tell from the past seasons, Will was, he was bullied too, and he was possessed, but you can tell his character's fighting about if he's going to come out of the closet. And through all the seasons, how Will is really feeling for Mike, and, Will wants to be happy with Mike. That's why he's saying how he misses him, and, because Mike doesn't really pay attention to him, and he wants Mike's attention and all the love. And you can just tell that he has strong feelings for Mike, but I don't think Mike knows that. I think Mike knows, like, okay, we're best friends and buddies. I don't think Mike is picking up on Will on how much he's in love with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he's picking up about how much Will does have feelings for him. And that painting, I'm wondering about that painting, because it hasn't been revealed yet about what that painting's for, has it?
Ooh, no. I've been, after I watched that show, I've been thinking about that whole painting too. I'm coming up with all these different theories, but I just don't know what's going to happen with that painting, man.
One of the things I like is I like Jonathan. I like Jonathan where he's at there now. He's smoking weed, and he met a friend, and I like the guy. They're getting stoned. I like
in the pizza delivery van.
Yeah. Hey man, if you're gonna start smoking, man, you make friends with the pizza delivery guy, because you always get food, man. Right? right? You always
That is wild. I like that. I like that character, man. He's all and they go out in the middle of nowhere, out in the desert, and they're hitting golf balls into this junkyard out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I like that. There's getting high and hitting golf balls in the junkyard. It's great how he's talking about Nancy, not about college. He's still having that long distance relationship with Nancy, which I find interesting because him having that long distance relationship, she's already planned on going to a certain college and he's going to go there with her, but now he's having second thoughts because he's doubtful if he's going to get in or not.
Yeah, and I have a feeling him and Nancy are going to end up breaking up, and Nancy's going to go back to you know who because he still has feelings for her.
You're talking about Steve. You feel
yes.
that Nancy is going to go back with Steve?
Yes, because if you're watching it now, what they're going through right now, you can tell Nancy's still into him, especially the part when they're going to the lake to go find the another gateway to get into the upside down world. And remember the part where they're in the middle of the lake in the boat? He takes his shirt off, and she's sitting there like turned on by his like hairy, muscular chest.
Yeah. I believe they still got feelings because we're in season 1. They were pretty much a couple, and then they broke up. And she got with Jonathan, and he was pretty much there. The only thing that he was doing was babysitting Dustin through season 2 and 3. And he tried to hook up with Robyn. That's another character they introduced last season. It was good to see that. And she's a lesbian. Yeah. I like that. So I like the relationship because it's platonic. Because in some ways, I feel that if she wanted to, she can flip and say, hey, you know what? Let's do it. Because I still have that feeling that eventually Robyn's going to feel sorry for him. It's like, you know what? She's going to let him tap it there, just to serve his needs there. And they're going to keep it platonic. But then here's another bad thing about it, Robyn. She's gonna feel that Steve's gonna end up probably falling for her, which she don't want that type of relationship. She likes the relationship she has with Steve, right?
Yeah, Robyn's in love with somebody else, like in the band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she's all smiling, going, "I like this girl." It's like, leave me alone. I want this girl. I like our platonic friendship, but I'm more interested in this one woman.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff going on. And then all of a sudden, there's Chrissy, the one head cheerleader. She starts seeing things. She starts seeing an old grandfather clock, and she starts
creepy.
Yeah, creepy stuff, man.
Clock with spiders.
Yeah, that's some stuff. When you first start seeing that, what was your thought about that, man, when you seen that?
I do not like spiders. When I saw that, when those spiders are coming out of everywhere and that eerie, clock, I felt like the spiders were crawling all over me. It gave me the EBGBs. I was like, I felt filthy. I felt spiders were really crawling on me when I was watching that because I don't like spiders.
Who don't like spiders, man? Who does not like spiders? I mean, I don't even like them, man. I don't.
I was like, no, not the spiders, no.
Yeah, especially black widows. That was the bad thing about that. Black widows.
It was all black widows. Think of, you get a bunch of those, and if you don't have the serum for it or not near a hospital, you're gone. You're dead. There's no collecting 200 and pass and go.
You ever clean out a nest of black widows?
Yes, I have. At work I did. It was creepy.
They're quick. They are quick. Believe it or not.
I'm running backwards. When I was cleaning it out, the boss is like, I know you don't like spiders, but you need to clean this nest out. I go, why me? Get Fred to do it. He's like, no, you got to do it. So here I am. I'm putting on like 2 sets of gloves, doing my thing, and, backing up, making sure nothing falls on me. And then all of a sudden you see him coming out. I'm sitting there running backwards like a schoolgirl. I'm like, no.
Wow. I can't believe that, man. He made you clean that. Jeez.
He did. It was just like, man, I was like, why? Because to get the exterminator guy that comes all the time, that's his job to make sure, Black Widows and spiders like that don't come. But he made me do it. It's like, dude, Fred's more handier than me. You should let the handy guy do that, and I'll just sit there and supervise.
That's messed up. That is messed up, man. I didn't like just the spiders just in general. I hate those things. I just hate those things. And seeing them in these like Chrissy having the visions of the time of the clock, grandfather clock, and the spiders, like everybody else, all the victims.
And then her father, she was feeling guilty about her dead father, and it was like driving her nuts, man.
Yeah.
And then she started puking and freaking out. And and remember the part where she, goes to the underworld where she meets the main villain, the main demon, who we find out a little bit later on in the season who he really is. Yeah. I'm not going to spoil that for anybody that hasn't seen it, but when he fucking like raised her up in the air like the Exorcist, and bending her wrist and bones, and her taking her eye sockets out and everything, and getting all I'm like, what the heck am I watching? This is Stranger Things, not the bloody Exorcist.
Yeah, that was creepy there. My wife covered her eyes up during that episode there when Vectum was pulling her apart. Ew. There, breaking her bones and sucking their eyeballs out. What he was doing, but one of the things is this villain for this season here has been like no other villain in the last 3 seasons. This villain right here attacks people mentally through fear. He attacks their fear. He feeds on your fear, and he exposes it to you. He weakens your mind to where when you're vulnerable, he comes in and he's asking you to join him. And then when you don't, he kills you. He takes you. And we find out the reason why he's doing that, because in the second episode, at the end of the first episode, Chrissy is in Eddie Munson's trailer there, and
I know, and she wanted to get like some kind of high drug, and here's Eddie's like, hold on, I'm looking for it right now. So he's trying to look for some speed in this room, and she's just sitting there freaking out, and Eddie doesn't know what the heck is going on, and he finally finds that speed for that drug. He comes up, he sees her like floating in midair and sees everything. He's freaking out. I mean, he's a dungeon master and makes up these stories for Dungeons and Dragons, but this really freaked him out. Then some of the stuff he created in D&D, he's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And then all of a sudden you just see him run out of that trailer, get in that van, and just speed off, man. Just like,
yeah. There's only one person that's seen him leave the scene, which was Sam. And
Sam, yep.
Speaking of Sam,
Sam is still having difficulties about losing her brother,
Billy.
Because he died in the mall, and then it's just her and her mom, and she's feeling guilty about everything too. She's a little messed up.
Mm-hmm. She is. She's having headaches, and she's been having them for a week, and she's pretty much feeling the guilt on what happened with Billy. But she lives right across in the same trailer park as Eddie, and she's seen Eddie and Chrissy go in there, and then she's seen Eddie take off, and then the next episode you see that the police come, and she gets a quick look, and she tells everyone Eddie killed Chrissy, and Eddie goes off and he hides, and then her Chrissy's cheerleading boyfriend, who Lucas is a part of because he's on the basketball team. They find out that Chrissy died, but it's, they think Eddie did it, which he didn't do it. So they go searching for him through town. They're looking for him.
Yeah,
man.
they do. They want to kill him, and then they go after the Hellfire Club. So they're looking for Dusty and all them too, to find out where Eddie's hiding. And now they're convinced, because like during the 80s, this happened in news too. When you play D&D, everybody thought it was like satanic, demonic.
Yeah.
So now they're thinking Eddie and the Hellfire Club are like this satanic cult going around sacrificing and killing people. So now they're going around getting the whole town, telling the sheriff to screw off, and we're going to get our own justice. So right now they're hunting for Eddie, the Hellfire Club, and Dustin. And then when Dustin found out about that too, he's like, holy crap.
I had to say Dustin is one of the smart ones when it comes to stuff, because when he puts everything together, Dustin does, and he said and looking at everything that happened with Chrissy, because they pretty much track Eddie down, and they get his side of the story, and he's like, you're not gonna believe me, man, you're not gonna believe me. And he's like, try us, we've seen a lot of stuff, because Steve, Sam, and then Lucas ends up joining, I believe. So yeah. Lucas ends up joining them and helps out Dusty. He finally realizes, like, okay, I want to be popular with these popular guys on the basketball team, but Dusty has been my friend through thick and thin. So I'm decided, I'm going to warn Dusty and all them, and join Dusty and the group to stop this monster. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing about that is that when Eddie tells what happens, Dustin right there, it pulls from the D&D. This is a Vectin. He's a wizard that attacks people through their minds. And he says he starts putting some stuff together there after a while there, and says, this is the Night Flyers general, 5-star general, coming in and doing the work. But then when Nancy, with the help of Robyn, start doing some research, they heard a name from Eddie's uncle, Victor Crail, and she starts digging into Victor Crail back in the 50s. Apparently, he killed his family the same way Chrissy died.
Yeah, and then he gouged his eyes out. So when, Robyn and them went to go see him at the mental asylum, when he turned around, they freaked out because his eyes were all scratched up. He was feeling guilty what he did. And the actor who's playing that, which is very priceless, is Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. And Robert Englund is pulling that, he's nailing that character to a T. I mean, him playing that character, Robert Englund, he convinced me. I kind of feel sorry for him too, and I don't.
Yeah, you do feel sorry for him, and you don't at the same time. Why is that?
Well, the reason why is, you can. I mean, when they go for the flashback, you can tell he was like a good family man. He had a son and daughter, and they get this nice, beautiful, like mansion-like house. Everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden, everything just goes to crap.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why, well, we do find out the reason why, but yeah, like everything goes to crap. He goes to jail, and he said it was a demon that was there that killed his family, and he explained what happened and why he was
especially to his wife. He saw the demon kill his wife, man. The whole breaking the bones, the wrist, that freaked me out.
Yeah, that would freak me out too. There, the way they were showing that happening there, but that was one thing that was that was really freaky, man. The special effects they used for this season for like the breaking of the bones and stuff, especially what happened with the Nancy's. I want to throw in there Nancy's friend, who was the reporter. Remember when they drove up to the trailer and the cop was asking him questions, and then the cop leaned in. He said, "What about you? You look like that boy, that was in that car accident," and you see him, his changing in his face and everything. And it's like, whoa, what the hell is happening here? He felt guilty. Again, Vector goes after him because he felt guilt for a car accident that happened.
And then you see, and when in the trailer park, you see him walking away into the forest, and Nancy, she's talking to, Eddie's uncle, trying to get more information. And he just wanders off, and then all of a sudden oh my gosh, he gets what he deserves. And then next thing you know, you see him laying dead in the middle of a country road out in the middle of nowhere.
I know, man. It's like he goes right out. He runs out in the middle of the road and he floats up, and all of a sudden, and then boom, he falls, man.
I'm trying to make the sound effect that.
Yeah. that was nuts, man. That was crazy. What happened to him? And then by the third episode, they pretty much have the answers of what's going on and have an idea. So Hawkins, they're trying to deal with this new threat. Meanwhile, Joyce,
over in California.
Yes, over in California.
Mike and Will and all them are all of a sudden get the government knocking on their door because of 11.
Yeah, the roller skate. Because Mike, we got to throw in there real quick. Mike went to California to visit Elle.
Yeah. And Elle. First, the cops went after Elle because Elle finally stood to her bully. She got that roller skate by the wheel and just popped that cheerleader's head, split her head wide open with that skate, man.
Yeah.
And can I tell you something? I'm not going to lie. I was really rooting for. I was like, yeah. I'm like this. I go. That bitch deserved that, man. I mean, I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
She got her head cracked open with a roller skate, but I can't help laughing, man. That girl deserved that, man.
Yeah. You know what was funny? I like when they're heading home with John and what's the surfer guy's name again? I got to look him up again. What's the pizza guy's name?
I call him the surfer stoner pizza dude.
The surfer stoner pizza dude. Man, I'm looking at the cast here, and there's so many people.
I didn't get his name. I just call him the surfer stoner pizza dude in California with the long hair.
Was it Keith? I think.
I don't know if it was Keith or not, but
it's here's his name. He's played by Edro Franco.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since we're in California now, since the government, because Elle got arrested and she was going to go to juvenile hall because they already got Mike and them at the house.
Yeah.
To protect them. So they go after Elle when she's getting transported to juvenile detention center. So they grab her and she sees her one of the old professors played by Paul Reiser. And, and he said, "We need you, Elle. We need you to help us, get rid of this demon and, help save the world." And, all that. So at first 11 was real hesitant. Mm-hmm. She really was, but so she decides, she goes, okay, I decided to help, and so they end up taking her, but they're not letting Mike and Will know about it. And then plus you got the United States Army that's after Elle too, and they want to destroy and kill her.
Yeah. They think everything is happening because of Elle. They think it's happening because of her. And one of the things is it's not her because, like Paul Reiser's character,
doesn't have her powers.
Yeah, she don't have her powers, and he knows that. But the U.S. Army's like the head general guy's like, no, it's her fault. We're gonna go after her. Where is she? And they, of course, during that when this is happening, we got to throw in there Joyce gets a package from the motherland of Mother Russia, and
the doll.
Yeah,
the doll.
Yeah, who's the guy she calls first about this?
That conspiracy theorist guy,
Murray.
He's like this. He goes, "Where'd you get this from Russia?" He's like, "Really? What's this doll look like? You know what you need to do? You need to break that. You need to break that doll. There has to be some kind of a note or something. It may be a trick from the Russians because during the '80s, it was during the Cold War between Russia and America. So he's all tripping out. He's like freaking. He's hit the doll. So you see Joyce, she throws this rope up with this paint can and is going to get ready to drop it on the doll. And then you see the neighbors across the street with her daughter going, what is that nutso lady doing? And then she drops the paint can right onto the Russian doll to get that note.
Yeah. And what's cool about it, it's funny because the note, a lot of people, what I've seen online, because it's funny because it looks like one of those ransom notes, and it was something that Joyce only knew that Hopper knew, and she called Murray and it's like, Hopper's alive, it's a note, Hopper's alive, how do you know? So he flies out to California and he sets up a tracing thing, this number to call. So she calls that number, and this guy,
the payphone in Russia.
Yeah, the payphone in Russia, and the guy, the guy who answers the phone is Enzo. His name was Enzo. He played
he's the correctional officer at the Russian prison.
Yeah, which also, I didn't know if you know this though. He played in Game of Thrones. He played the man with no face. He played him.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's him.
And if you're going to put some Game of Thrones trivia in, let's talk about Joseph Quinn, who plays Eddie Munson. He was in Game of Thrones. He was one of the Stark's loyalists. Okay,
that nice. I like how this Game of Thrones ties into this with the characters. But yeah, I found out later the Enzo was played in Game of Thrones. He played the man with no name, no face. He played him, the one who trained Arya, but. He's the guy who's the Russian guard, like you said, who answers the phone and says, you need to go to Alaska with $40,000. You need to meet my friend Dmitri. I forget the name.
Yeah, it's Dmitri, the crazy smart aleck Dmitri, who is smuggling crates and crates full of Jif peanut butter over Russia because the Russians love that American peanut butter.
No, but... When you first seen the Jif peanut butter and stuff, what was going through your mind about the Jif peanut butter thing, man?
You know what was going through my mind right now?
Yeah,
I wanted me to cut some banana slices, put some peanut butter on some bread, and have a peanut butter banana sandwich while I'm watching.
That's great. And it's funny because you know what's funny about this? It's not in a way that they're showing like the Jif peanut butter and stuff, and right now there's this big recall on Jif peanut butter. Seriously,
I know, that's funny,
dude. I had a jar of it, and I found out the other day it was recalled, and guess what? Me and my daughter already ate half the jar. We're still fine.
Hey, so I'm fine. I emptied out my Jif jar like last week because I love my peanut butter banana sandwiches. You know where I got that idea from? The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, used to eat them. So
yes.
I saw an interview about that. It's like, he likes it. I'm going to give it a try. And then I got hooked on it. So I would eat that every morning for breakfast. But I didn't know there was a recall for Jif peanut butter.
Yeah, there is, dude. Me and my daughter already, we tore into that Jif. Me and her, we like, there was half a peanut butter left in that jar. And I said to my wife today, I said, I think there's a recall on Jif, and she said, let me look it up, and she looked up the number, and I'm like, honey, it's halfway empty. Callie's already had a bunch of peanut butter. I already had a bunch of peanut butter, and I'm like, all right, I'll throw it away. So I threw it away, but it's like, man, you know, it's like, that's probably why I've been shitting a lot lately. That's probably why.
hey, quit cussing, man, because my show, you know, you gotta be careful because the FCC. Oops. Oh. I hope that's all right though. Hey, Rooster, please forgive me. It was. All
right, I'm sorry. I will try to keep it clean. I'll put a filter on. I'm sorry, Robyn.
Tell Rooster you're sorry.
I'm sorry, Rooster. I am sorry from the bottom of my heart. Let me put the camera on me right here. Let me look right into the camera. I'm sorry, Rooster.
I don't give that little tear.
Yes.
And since we're back in California, about everybody's going after Elle. Let's talk about Dustin's girlfriend. They go to her house and she has a messed up family.
Oh my God!
The little kid that looks like a tribal hunter going around with war paint on his face, shooting bows and arrows at everybody. And then she has like
cutting the power off.
Huh?
Cutting the power off. Remember?
Yeah, cut the power off. And, in the part where her brothers and sisters were filming that horror film where she was laying down like a corpse, acting like she was chopped in half, and he was all filming it. And her dad was odd. And that was
a little odd.
That's cool how Mike and, Will and them finally got to meet Dusty's girlfriend. She's like, what are you doing here? You're here like over 3,000 miles. You come to see me. What do you need? We need you to hack into this system about this video game. And if you do it, we'll win this free console. So they make up a Nintendo name. Yeah,
like some kind of like Super Famicom or something like that. Which was funny.
Dusty's girlfriend was cool. She's like, I'm sorry I can't help you right now. He took my computer because I helped Dustykins, change his grade.
That was great right there. But yeah, it was interesting seeing that right there. And of course the pizza guy, Dustin's not Dustin, but Jonathan's pizza delivery friend started crushing on the older sister, man. And then what was funny was they did a diversion where they could get in there, do the coordinates, and the reason why they had to use this number, they traced this number, was because when the government attacked them at their house, they tried to save one of the secret agent, unknown secret agent man. Yeah, and he gave him a pin, and inside the pin had the number. So that's where that came from there. And she found the coordinates, and it was in Nevada because Elle was in Nevada. And what happened was when Elle was in Nevada, she met up with Papa, and she tried to run, and she had to face her fear, man. And she got into the Nita tank, the Nita project, so she had to face her fear because he wanted her to be ready for what's coming next. And you see her when she's through that tank, she's going back into her dreams, because the whole time she thought everything that happened when she escaped was all her fault. So you go back in there and you see Elle as a little kid. You don't see her as a teenager. When she goes back into her, thoughts and dreams, you see her back, Papa as a little kid again, like from the first season. Yeah, you see that because in the opening of the first episode of season 4 was a flashback in 1979 when Papa, normal day there in the Rainbow Room, Papa, the Rainbow Room playing games. They were all playing games, working with the kids. Taking number 5, I think it was, testing his... Yeah, it was number 5, because number 5, Papa loved number 5. Then, he liked 11, but he liked 5. And the thing I didn't like what Papa did, he would try to, instigate between him, because he wanted to see who was the best, 5 or 11. Yeah. And I love how he would manipulate them to really go at it. Yeah, he would manipulate them to go at it. But what happened was there was an incident where something happened where, like, people were getting killed. There was screaming and
blood everywhere.
Yeah, all the people died. And when Papa got knocked out by the door, 5 was dead. He gets up. He starts walking back down the hallway into the rainbow room there. And then there was 11. And that was pretty much it. But Elle
thinks that was her fault because she kept on thinking she killed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I love where this is going. I'm not going to spoil it. I know where you're going with this. We can't spoil it for the people, you know.
Well, by this time, Robyn, it's been Stranger Things season 4 has been out already for a week.
Yeah, so we can tell a little bit, and I like it because it leads into Elle's origin story, what really happened, and how she escaped from Papa in that institution.
Well, there should be a spoiler alert because it's been out for a week. Spoiler alert.
Say this.
Yes.
Hold on, let me make the noise. And if you don't want to listen to this, turn it off or, plug your ears
Fast
or whatever.
forward.
What? Spoiler alert, ding, 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 spoiler alert. Okay, let's go with the spoiler alert.
All right. So they're about what you were talking about with Elle's dreams or the flashback. Yeah. She's been having these dreams because she's been thinking she was a monster. She was afraid to go back and confront this because she needed a memory
to get her power back.
Papa knew which memory was interfering, and so he put in that day because he knew which day it was because she don't remember that day because she blacked out. And she had to go in and face that. So while she's facing that, okay, back in Hawkins. So should we jump back over in Russia real quick because there's still more?
Yeah, we got to talk about Russia.
All right, let's go to Russia.
And how Joyce and her conspiracy friend, at first
Murray,
were like captured by the stupid Russian pilot.
Oh yeah, the plan. Yeah, let's talk about the plan now. So what was Hopkins' plan? Hopper made a deal with the prison guard, correct?
Yeah,
I'll let you take it here.
The guard made a deal with him, and then he poisoned, Joyce and all of them to put him asleep because Joyce is wanted in Russia too, and he was going to get this reward because the Russian government wanted Joyce. So when he finally got him, they finally woke up and they were all tied up. So Joyce and
Murray,
what's his name? Murray were trying to, cut themselves out from the ropes, and they finally did
on the plane.
So they got him good. So they made him, the hostage when he flew into Russia.
Yes.
And then they were sitting there driving, and they go through the Russian prison, and he's playing the one Russian guy acting all funny and goofy.
Dmitri. He's playing Dmitri. Yeah. But I'll let you finish here. I want to add to this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he's playing Dmitri and stuff, and the Russian warden was like, "Oh, Dmitri, I like you because you got that crazy sense of humor." And he's like, "You're not really Dmitri." He's like, "Oh crap!" So the real Dmitri is top going like this. It's me. He's trying to get out of that gag. He goes, "Oh, Dmitri, I know it's you." So they get to the part where they see Hopper and those prisoners in the Russian guard because they found that the Russian guard was trying to help Hopper escape. So you see him in this arena down in the prison, getting ready to fight this demonic creature.
Yeah, demigore. The Russians had a demigore like you've seen in the previous season 1 and 2. They had one. They brought it back over from I believe season 3 when they were messing with the gate there and underneath the mall in Hawkins, Indiana. But the whole thing was Enzo was going to help Hopper escape. He was going to get paid. He was going to have Dmitri help him with the escape. Fly Joyce from Alaska to Russia. Hopper was going to escape. I loved how he was escaped, and he killed some guards. And when he was escaping, because he had a short window, and when he was escaping, I loved it when he got on the snowmobile after he blew up the shed there. Whoa. And he took off, and the guards were like, and the one Russian guy was like, he said in Russian, he's like, crazy American. I love that.
Hey, and remember when Hopper ran, he went back to the town and he found Dimitri's church, but had all the American stuff. So he breaks into crates and starts eating the Jif peanut butter.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best thing he's probably ate in months, man.
I
know it.
He didn't eat nothing. And you see him, he's all excited. He's sitting there getting in there going, American food. I don't care if it's peanut butter or not. But this is better than what I was eating.
It is. And he gets, like you said there was a double cross. He goes back in the jail. Enzo gets thrown in there with him, and they're sitting there. What I love, the fact is that they throw the prisoners to the demigore. The demigore kills them for sport. So they're eating this big dinner there, and they're like, "Oh, we're getting fed so we can be strong to destroy this thing." Hopper's sitting there. Everyone's feeding their guts. Hopper's
drinking that vodka,
and then they're like, "What's an American? You need to eat." And he goes, "No, I seen that thing." And everyone stops eating. He says, "You guys ain't gonna be. You're not being strong and fast. You're not training this thing. You're basically getting plump so you could slow down so this thing can kill you. We are its entertainment." Dinner didn't taste that great afterwards. It's like Hopper was dead on, man. Dead on.
Hey, I just want to tell you something. Hopper's a badass. And then when Joyce finally saw Hopper, oh my gosh, that gave me a tear in my eye.
Yeah.
I started crying a little bit.
Now, I want to throw this out here, Robyn. Did you notice that because when they're sitting there at the table and when they got back, Hopper had the Zippo because he instigated the fight. He took the Zippo from the guard. He lifted it. And the vodka. Now, remember when he was sitting there drinking and when he fell over, what he did was when he fell over, he took the vodka and he threw it in his coat.
Yeah, because he had the lighter because he knew that creature was afraid of fire.
Yeah, he knew how to fight it.
He was getting prepared for it. Yep.
Dude, I was in the edge of my seat when it came time for that fight there, but...
Oh yeah, and that lighter couldn't light up. He's trying to light it. He's like, oh crap! It's just me and the correctional officer left. He's like, come on, man, we got to do this. And then finally he lights it up, and he's sitting there like shoving away. And then Joyce, and all them are trying to get the door open so Hopper and the correctional guard doesn't get eaten alive.
Enzo.
So they're pushing all these buttons, going, which button I push? Just push them all. So she's still pressing all these buttons.
Now, Murray, I love Murray. He steps it up a level this season from what we saw with last season.
He become more of a man, badass.
The fight on the plane. He's like, I'm a black belt. He's like, and Joyce is like, well, you can take him. And he says, well, I don't know if I can because the people in karate class have been fighting. I've been fighting this 16-year-old. He's been fighting kids. And she's like, pretend they're 16 or 8. Kicked her butt, and then all of a sudden it just came out, and he was like, "Oh, wow!"
Yeah, that was funny. And then he started doing it at the prison to the Russian guards. He's like, "Hoo ha, yeah, like Hong Kong Phooey."
He's been my comic relief this season.
Murray's great. I kind of like him this season, man. He's more like the comical guy of the show.
Especially with Joyce, Winona Ryder. I don't know how she can keep a straight face, man, for this, man.
Oh, I know. I was waiting for her to break out character and do a little laugh, but she's like, man, she's thinking in her head, she's like, I'm Joyce. I can't be Winona and laugh right now. I'm playing a role. I got to be serious Joyce. I got to encourage Murray to use his kung fu skills.
Yeah, remember when Murray's like, you got to stay in character when he took the mouthpiece off. She's like, I don't like you Russian scum, you SOBs. I don't like you. She's like, she got really into character. That was funny.
Now, Now, let's fly back to Russia, back to California.
Yes.
Where Elle's still in her dreams, and we find out about the very first patient, number one.
Yeah, there was rumor about number one that he exists at one point. And during these flashbacks, when she's reliving these flashbacks, she starts talking with one of the orderlies that was there, and he mentioned, it's like there's talk about number one, that he exists. No one knows what happened with him. So she starts developing a relationship, and he's kind of helping her along with the test and everything
to help her win, because he likes her. And then when he did that, finally he like talks into her. It's like, you got to escape. You don't need to be here. I'm a prisoner here. You're a prisoner here, and you got to leave. But Elle, since she like finally like really believed him, she was escaping, and then she found him again, and she goes, I want you to go with me. You can't stay here. He goes, there's one thing you needed to do. I got this tracer in me, and if we do something wrong, Papa will hit and we'll explode. So, Elle takes the tracer chip out of him, and then he goes like this, you wait right here and I'll be back. And then all of a sudden you see him going ape shit using his psychic abilities, because
language
didn't have it. So he's going around like Darth Vader, like Sithing, like Darth Vader, like the Sith, going around raising up, crushing necks, taking everything out, all blood. And here comes Elle going, what?
Yeah, she was surprised by that. She definitely was surprised by that, and she couldn't believe it. That like how he killed one of the guards when he went like this and he snapped the guard's neck. She did that in season 2 to one of the guards, if you remember that.
Yeah, she did,
which was pretty neat.
Number one just reminded me of Darth Vader. Him fully becoming Darth Vader, going around snapping people with his Jedi powers going.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely did. Now, while this is going on, we're leading up to a point where this and another story is going to tie into each other. Sam, all of a sudden, she starts seeing the grandfather clock, and she starts counting down her hours, and they added up approximately 24 hours after the victim first seen had their first vision. It would be 24 hours before they die. So Sam's preparing, getting everything, and Vectin's getting in her head, appearing and saying, I'm coming for you. And she writes out all these letters, and people's paying attention to her, keep an eye on her. And she said the one thing that she wants to do, like spend her last hours before she dies, is not in a basement with a bunch of geeks. So she goes to Billy's grave. And while she's there, she writes a letter, and she opens up the Billy. And tell me, Robyn, did it not bring a tear to your eye how she finally opened up about her brother?
Yeah, it did. It gave me a tear, man. I'm not gonna lie, I did cry a little bit about that, because I felt for her what she was going through. Like, I've never lost anybody, but by going through her, seeing her and looking through her eyes, what she's going through, I felt that emotion too.
It was pretty big, man, having that emotion there with everything that was been going on. One of the things that was happening was when she's sitting there talking, reading this letter, all of a sudden Vectin comes to her and gets in her head.
Oh, I know, that was creepy.
And it was neat seeing the same character come back that played Billy come back for this small part here, which was great.
Oh,
and
he was creepy looking.
Yeah,
he gave me the heebie-jeebies. He's like giving her that, trying to make her feel guilty and stuff. And then she's back into the underworld, and she's trying to slowly escape. And he's trying to prevent her from not leaving, and she's like trying to fight her way back.
Yeah.
And then she sees an opening where she sees, all of her friends, and she finally realized, she goes, I need to get out of here. I can't be feeling sorry for myself. I need to be strong and get out of there. So you see her finally getting the strength and finally realize what's going on and fighting to survive. And he's like throwing everything in the underworld at her, trying to drop buildings on her, throwing rocks at her, trying to stop her. And then boom, she gets right back into the real world.
Yeah, that was crazy because when she goes into that trance and they're trying to break it out of her, Nancy and Robyn escaped they almost got arrested there from seeing the old man again. What's his name?
Robert Englund's character.
Yeah. They're trying to figure out something, and they found out that music was the thing what brought him back. And so they're like, what's her favorite song? So Dustin dumps out her backpack and gets her Walkman and puts in her favorite song and puts the headphones on her. And that's when she does see that opening there to get back into the real world. But she stumbled on this one place and she saw a thing where Chrissy was dead in this thing. And then she saw where the one boy that was with Nancy as the reporter kid. She's noticing things, and she's listening to that music, and it does bring her back. And I was sitting there, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, no, don't kill Sam. We don't need anyone dead yet. This is not season 5. So she's running, and she finally, she comes back. And then after that happened right there, she drew what she saw, which was the house of Creel,
Creel's house.
Victor Creel's house. So they go there, and they're looking around at it, and there's nothing there. But they noticed the lights started.
The lights kept on flickering and stuff, and it was bringing them back flashbacks.
Yeah,
and Creel knew they were there, so he was trying to find some ways to mess with them while they're at Creel's house. Yeah,
because one of the things was that they went right upstairs in the basement, and they realized because anything that exists in this world exists exactly in upside down. So they knew where Victor was. He was up in the closet, but I mean, not in the closet, up in the attic. And
it was the attic, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he stayed up there in the attic, because it ties into that. What happened was, while they're there, they didn't really find anything, but they kind of knew where the energy was in that house. But then
where the gate was.
Yeah. But then Eddie, let's jump back to Eddie. Eddie gets found by the basketball players, and Patrick, one of the players, we could see Vectin go in and trying to find someone, and he finds Patrick, and he starts affecting Patrick. Patrick starts tripping, seeing the clock, but you don't get too much into what he's seeing. But he's with Chrissy's boyfriend. They track down Eddie Munson at the boathouse, and they're going after Eddie, and then all of a sudden Eddie's in the boat trying to get away. Remember that? He's calling, Dustin, man, you gotta get out of here, man.
He had that walkie-talkie. He's like, I'm in trouble. Come on, man.
And what happened was they're out there at the lake, and they're trying to get out there to help Eddie, and Eddie's in that boat getting away, and they're swimming after him, and then Patrick goes under. All of a sudden, something from Freddy vs. Jason, Friday the 13th, up in the water comes Patrick, and all of a sudden, and then boom, right in the water, and then that's when the jock, the head basketball player, in the town meeting there, was you're still convinced it was Eddie, man. It's
he convinced him it was satanic, man. That's what he's trying to get the people. It's a satanic cult. It's Satan's at work.
Yeah.
Satan.
Yeah, and pretty much everybody, the kid, Sam, Lucas, and Dustin end up there, and all the parents, they get caught by the cops. They're trying to get Eddie away. Eddie gets away, or actually, no, Eddie comes.
Eddie's with Nancy and all them. You know, because they go
Skull Rock. Skull Rock. He makes it out there.
Yeah, they're in Skull Rock. So now they're in the underworld right now, and then Dusty and all them and Sam are at the house of the parents, and the cops are talking to them. So, you know, Eddie and all them are trying to figure a way to signal Dustin.
Yeah. Well, what they found out was Dustin finds out about a gate. Remember? He said they find out that every murder victim, when they got killed, there's left a gate. Vectin is opening up, killing people to open up gates to come into this world to take it over. And they found out there's a Dustin says there's a water gate. Bottom of
that was funny during the Nixon Watergate, because it was the 80s and Watergate was the early 70s. And he's like, we're gonna. It's like it's a Watergate, and they're like, huh?
Yeah. Oh, clever. Yeah. And what happened? They go out there to investigate, and it was Eddie, Nancy, Steve, and Robyn. All four of them go out there, and that's when Dustin, Lucas, and Sam get caught by the cops because they were trying to save Eddie. Yeah, and then what happened was Steve dives underneath water, and he sees it, and he comes back up, but the gate pulls him down and pulls him in there, and that's I think that was episode 6 where and that's when you see Nancy. She jumps in after him first thing, and then all of a sudden, and then Robyn's like, no, I'm not staying here. So she goes in, and then you have Munson. He's sitting there going, he's like, hell with it. So he goes, he's like, you know something, if they're gonna jump in, hell with I am too. He's like, I'm a scaredy cat. I don't want to be part of this, but you know something, I'm going to jump in there with them. Mm-hmm. And that's how they got into the underworld, upside down, where they were at the mansion. And that's when they were trying to signal when Dustin and all them found them, shooting it like the light. So he finds the gate. So he finally gets them. So when they're trying to get out, they're coming out upside down. And then they look at Dustin and all them like they're upside down. Yeah, they find the other gate at Eddie's trailer and upside down because that's where Nancy died. But I love how they were communicating with the light bright. Oh yeah, they're putting all the different colors from the light bright on there. Spelling, he's like, "Oh yeah, we got it." And he goes, "Clever." And then after that, they're covering it. When that cop came in, going, "What are you guys doing?" We're not doing nothing. We're just playing light bright. Yeah, and they took off. They head to Eddie's trailer to save them, and that was pretty trippy. I love the effects on that right there, man. Oh, I know. Where they're like this. She's like, because you see them, they're looking at Dustin and all them, and because they're looking at them upside down, and the Dustin and them are looking them upside down. So he puts that pillow, the sheet down as a rope. You see them like going upside down, but they go through and they land normal. It's like, oh, that was cool. Yeah. So all of them, climb through there to get back into the reality. And then when it was Nancy's turn, she gets sucked back into the underworld again. By Vectum, man. By Vectum. So Vectum is giving her the whole story, what's going on, how it happened, how he became, and everything about L. Yeah, and both stories coincide. I want to throw this out there real quick. When they grabbed that Eddie's mattress, he said, those stains were already on there. Don't ask about them. He's like this. He goes, those weren't my stains. But so I like how the stories intertwine, because he gave Nancy the full story. So Nancy knows the whole story on both sides now, and she's like tripping out, going, like, wow. And then boom, and then from there you go back, back to L's story. It goes L's back and forth there, and then you go number 1, and then you found out number 1 was Victor's son. Was Victor's son.
because he felt like he was unloved and stuff, and he started getting like all hatred. And he's the one that killed his mother and sister and caused his, father to scratch his eyes out. So he's the one that's going around killing people. He's the main villain.
Yeah, number one was Victor. Yeah, he was Victor. He was Henry Krull. And he had the psychic abilities like Elle did before. He got into his parents' minds and saw what bad stuff happened, especially like with Henry. Henry Krull was that saw what stuff happened with his father Victor during the war, and he used that. He can manipulate the mind, and then he took out his mom there, like you've seen back in the flashback story from Victor's point of view. Then when they were running to get out, then he put Victor in that trance, and the music brought him back out. By that time, Henry already killed his sister, and it took so much energy out of him, he fell into a coma. And then Victor gets charged for murder. Henry gets shipped off and meets Papa. And Papa, he's the first guy. He's number one. And pretty much Henry looks at the humans as a disease and should be exterminated, and he asked Eleven to join him, and Eleven says no, and so he decides to take him out. So it's a battle of the minds there against each other.
And then finally, 11 took him out. 11 goes, I had enough of this, and then she used her fullest power and knocked out number one, and that's how she escaped out from Papa and all that.
Yeah, she remembered what Henry said, use a memory, and she was getting snapped, her body.
Yeah, so she was thinking about her mom and all that too, which really got the strength, and goes, and then number one was tripping out because she was breaking his hold, and then she just went at it and slammed him right across the wall through that mirror.
Now, think about this here, Robyn. Okay, number one had all this hatred and had hate. It's almost like Star Wars. He had all this hate, and
Anakin,
he used that
when he became Vader. Yes.
And Elle tapped into love, a memory of love that gave her power. So
so she was more like Ben Kenobi.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, you can't be doing this. You need to quit it. Or else, and then they get into that duel.
What was neat was when she broke the hold and she fixed herself, and he couldn't believe it. And when she used all her power to get him up against the wall and made him disappear into the wall, she opened up the first gate to Upside Down. He disappeared, and it showed him. It was trippy. It reminded me of an old 80s horror movie, like Army of Darkness, where Bruce Campbell's falling, and there's lightning all around, but the lightning kept striking Henry, number one, and made him...
because he was falling the underworld, and that's where it transformed him into that grotesque beast.
Yeah, it transformed him into it, and he pretty much got sent in 1979 to Upside Down. And then when Papa came in, that's when the gate closed up, and Elle got her powers back. Elle has her powers. Nancy knows the whole story, and it pretty much... Volume 1 ends right there. So, everything that happened so far.
And then we have to wait until July 1st to see part 2. And I'm dying to see how, now since both stories are intertwined now, I'm dying to see what's going to happen. And I can't wait between the showdown between Elle and 1. That's going to be freaking epic.
That is right there. One of the things that I'm wondering about is that with Volume 2, okay, Volume 2 is going to have 2 episodes. Papa is the next one. That's episode 8. Episode 9, I forget what that is. But episode 8 is going to run an hour and 30 minutes. Episode 2.
Actually, the next 2 episodes in part 2 are going to be an hour over an hour and a half.
I heard episode 9 is going to be running 2 hours, almost like a whole movie, which will be great because that will tie up everything there is with everything this season. Because we know next season is going to be the last final season of Stranger Things, but I told you I had some theories. I don't know. Do you have any theories? I want to hear any theories you have about everything that we've seen so far, and what do we expect out of Volume 2?
I think in Volume 2, Elle and One are going to have that epic battle. Mike and Elle are going to still get back together. Will's going to finally come out of the closet and express his feelings to Mike. Hopper and Joyce and all of them are going to, leave Russia. And I think the correctional officer is going to be with them. And I think they're going to end up reuniting with everybody. And they're all going to stand against One for one epic battle showdown. And also, I don't know if this is correct or not, I have a feeling there'll probably be some characters who are going to probably end up getting killed. That's just my theory.
Oh, really? If anyone had to go, who would you think would have to go? Who do you think's going to get it at the end of this season?
I have a feeling it's going to be. Ooh, that's hard. I have a feeling it's going to be Nancy. I have a feeling it's going to be Nancy's first love.
Steve?
I think Steve's going to sacrifice himself for Nancy somehow.
You do. Because,
and I also think Hopper will of course, Hopper's going to probably try to sacrifice himself, to save Joyce and everybody too. So I think those 2 guys are going to do something where they're going to be like real heroic.
You think so? Because I heard the same speculation that pretty much Hopper, he's going to end up probably getting it at the end because he's going to do something to save Joyce. And I heard that I could believe Steve because of everything that he's went through so far. And the actor who plays Eddie Munson, he kind of let something out in an interview recently that he wasn't supposed to, and that was he talked about in. I got neighbors shooting fireworks off. My dog's about to go off, but just to warn you.
So what did he say in the interview which slipped?
Okay, he was talking with comicbook.com, and he happened to mention that there will be a moment where Eddie and Jonathan will meet up, but it won't be this season. So that's what he said. So he pretty much let the cat out of the bag that you're going to see Eddie Munson again in season 5 of Stranger Things. So I hate to spoil that there, but Eddie's...
I do too. If he's saying that, it's going to be, dude. Hey, you know something? Maybe that's going to be a spin-off about Jonathan and Munson, because they talked about online. There's rumors they were talking about a Stranger Things spin-off. So maybe what he's mentioning, it's going to be probably a spin-off about him and Jonathan.
Who knows? One of the theories I have, I want to get your take on this now. Okay. Did you watch the trailer after the last episode, season 7? Did you watch the trailer promoting for Volume 2 coming out July 1st? Did you see that at the ending credits?
No, do tell.
Yeah,
I missed that.
So there's a lot of stuff going on that has a lot of people in the upside down. There's one scene where Eddie is on top of a trailer jamming out his guitar and blaring music, playing like heavy, jamming out and upside down, which I'm like, dude, that's pretty cool. If you're going to play guitar any place, man, that's the most demonic place to play music, the heavy metal, dude. So there's that there. Then there's Steve and Dustin all battled up, geared up, fighting whatever it is. Then they show Hopper going into the other part of the prison where it looks like there's demigores in containers, and then there's like that night flyer, dust that's locked up spinning around. And apparently that a lot of the battles, a lot of stuff that's going to happen at the end of this in volume 2 that's going to end out the season is going to be a big battle, but it's going to happen, like you said, it's going to happen in the upside down. It's going to be in the upside down. And think about this too. I didn't think about this till today, till I saw the poster and I saw a video today talking about Stranger Things. Joyce, Hopper, and Enzo and Murray, there's no way for them to get back to America because the plane, remember? Okay.
Got destroyed when they crashed.
Yes. If you look at the poster for one of the posters they released for Stranger Things, it shows where it's Joyce, Hopper, and Murray walking over to where the Demigore was, and there was a gate. Apparently, they're going to have to go through upside down to get back to Hawkins. That's where they're going to have to go, man. They're going to have to travel
because they can't go the regular way because they'll get caught.
Yeah, so they're going to have to go through upside down to get back to Hawkins.
That's wild.
That is wild. Is that not wild? That's what's going to happen. And there's also that's a theory that I think, because they show a clip of Hopper going down, looking like down the steps, and he has a flamethrower and he's ready to burn something. So apparently they're going to have to go through upside down, and like you said, I think Hopper's going to sacrifice himself through upside down. And all the stuff that Hopper talked about, remember he talked about his daughter, more about his daughter who died of cancer of the Agent Orange. Do you remember that?
Yep, from the war.
He feels like he's cursed, and he feels like he brings more hurt and pain to Joyce and her family than anything. He's gonna redeem himself somehow.
I think so too. I have a feeling too. I think he's gonna be the main one.
Yeah, I think something's gonna happen to him, but I don't want to see anything happen. Actually, I don't want to see anything happen to all these characters until next season. Because
me too.
Yeah,
we watched the first season. Man, this has been a fun episode, man.
Now, one more thing I want to ask. Okay,
go ahead.
Everything that we've seen go on with Vectin, Henry Creel as number one. Do you think, because no activity went on from when after Henry number one framed his father, all the way up until 86, when you started seeing the first killings again, like what happened. But also, the thing is, do you think for the last 3 seasons that Vectin pretty much was using everything in the upside down to get back at Elle for sending him there? Or however, do you think he's a 5-star general working for a higher power inside the upside down, trying to break through to this reality?
I think he's been around since the first season. We don't know of him. I think he's the one that's starting havoc, and for years he's been planning to get revenge for Elle. And I don't think he's the main guy. I just think he's like the general. I think there's somebody higher up, more powerful, that's pulling his strings to get this big epic battle going. So I think there's another higher power that's above him, and he's just doing what he's told. But this higher power is letting him do whatever he wants and letting him try to get his revenge on Elle. That's what I think. That's just my theory.
Okay, that's a good theory. I like that because I believe there's something else that's higher there that's working, that is above him that we'll find next season. I believe that we're going to find.
I think so too. It's like playing a video game. You go through and defeat these levels, and you think you're really fighting the main villain, but actually you're not, because the main guy who's in charge of everything, you're not going to see him. He's not even going to let nobody know he's around until it's finally towards the end, like Armageddon.
That makes sense, because also too, keep this in mind, that they based a lot of the stuff off of D&D too. And if you
they did, because some of the characters were mentioned, because I used to play D&D back in the 80s, and back then, if you played D&D, you were like a big nerd and a geek. So I played a lot of it. We never had a club in high school. We would play after school at each other's houses. And, and before we go, remember when, there were Dustin and Mike didn't want to come to the D&D because they wanted to watch a friend play basketball.
Yeah.
And my favorite part was where we're showing the time was going out for the last shot. So you see him shoot the ball for the last shot, and then you see him rolling the dice, for the destroy the main baddie in the D&D game. So the ball goes in the hoop. They win. Hawkins wins their very first championship, and then you see her rolling the dice, and it goes down to a natural 20, and then Munson goes critical hit.
Yeah, that
was epic. When they were rolling that 20-sided dice, that was bringing me flashback memories of D&D, man. Once you hit that 20, that's a natural kill, man. You obliterate your enemy, man. But if you rolled a 1 on the 20 die, you tripped and you get murdered.
That's crazy. But man, I'm excited. July 1st needs to get here quick, man. We have a few more weeks, and it's going to creep up quicker than we can think. And I like to get you back on to talk about the Volume 2, man. We're going to have to do this again.
We will definitely talk about Volume 2. And we also need to get back together and do another crossover show and talk about Season 3 of The Boys.
The Boys. I actually need to watch that. I'll probably
warn you, when you watch Season 3, Episode 1, when you watch it, you're going to be disturbed, and you're going to feel very nasty inside your head, and you're going to be like, that was the most bloodiest, insane episode I've ever seen in my life, and WTF, what did I just watch?
I have to keep that in mind. I'll have plenty of time to watch The Boys, because
and then Obi-Wan's been real good. The first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi was so, but they made it up for the 3rd episode, which was epic.
Well, I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet, so I can't.
I'm just saying, when you watch it, call me and let me know what you thought, especially towards the end of Episode 3, and then after that, we got 3 more episodes of Obi-Wan.
Nice.
And that's it.
Nice. Definitely. I'll definitely let you know. And I want to thank you, man. Robyn Nelson, Wrestle Popcast. I still say that.
No, not Wrestle Popcast. I don't do that anymore.
You don't. All right. Give me the official word here on my podcast. Tell me the status of Wrestle Popcast.
Okay, Wrestle Popcast. It was my old podcast I did. Everett. I've interviewed over 375 professional wrestlers,
mm-hmm.
and then for a while it's just like, man, I want to do something else right now. I've done everything. I still love pro wrestling. I'm glad I'm part of Future Great Wrestling. If you want to check out Future Great Wrestling, check out their YouTube channel, Future Great Wrestling, and you can see some great wrestling action. And then, if you live in Cincinnati, you can come see him in Hamilton, Ohio on Friday nights. But I decided I wanted to talk more about my love of pop culture and horror. I was like, something, I'm going to take a break from Wrestle Popcast and start focusing on this. And I've been doing this for like 2.5 years. I'm enjoying it. maybe eventually one day I'll go back and do a couple interviews with Wrestle Podcast, just like an anniversary type of episode or something. But right now, I'm just enjoying Horror Pop After Midnight right now. I mean, it's been fun. It's got me to go to a lot of great conventions. I've been getting a lot of press passes. It's been getting me, a lot of interviews, all that great stuff. And, and I'm coming up with some cool topics I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I know you heard some of my episodes because I always listen to Everett Lee. Every time you post your episode, I always listen. I love the Everett Lee show too. But like I said, I just want to do this for a while. I mean, I love wrestling, but I kind of like my horror and my world of pulp culture. I like my fandoms, and I like stuff like this, how we talk about Stranger Things.
Yes, because there was one person when I looked at talking about Stranger Things, you saw the post, I put that out there. You liked it right away, and I said to myself, anyone who wants to do this episode, and no one looked, and I saw who liked it, and I saw your name at the top of the list. I said, Robyn. I said, I'll reach out to Robyn. I know what he'll say. And here we are, man. Here we are. And
before we leave, Everett Lee, check out Horror Pop After Midnight on Facebook. Subscribe. Also, you can subscribe to Horror Pop After Midnight on Twitter at Pop After. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Horror Pop After Midnight. Just started. I've been putting some cool videos in there. Subscribe so you can see my further adventures. And then you can listen to Horror Pop After Midnight every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Rooster's Hamilton Radio, Rooster Radio. There, I had to get all my plugs in.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Thank you so much. And
one more. And everybody, check out the Everett Lee show. Subscribe to his page on YouTube. And also, you can find both of our shows at Podcast City Network at podcastcity.net, where you can find the great podcasts out of the great platforms out there. Podcast City.
That's right, man. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for everyone tuning in, watching, and listening to this episode of The Everett Lee Show.
Follow The Everett Lee Show on the following social media platforms: Facebook, The Everett Lee Show; Twitter, @The Everett _Lee; Instagram, Everett Lee. Subscribe, follow The Everett Lee Show on the following platforms: Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Everett Lee, and Johners Podcast Network, WrestlingWithJohners.com. Follow Podcast City Network on the following social media platforms: on their website, Podcast City Net; Facebook, Podcast City Network; Twitter, @Podcast City Net;